Our dearest, beloved, divine friends and family, peace and blessings, namaste, om shanti, good morning, assalamu alaikum, shalom, alaikum, peace and blessings of God be with one and all, your friend, your brother, me, Haji Dr. Roshan Khan, in the raw, Arcade's Guyana Free Media. Yes, friends and families, in the raw, again, yesterday's newspaper of September 16th, Kaicho News, Minister of Natural Resource, and I want to cover a part also of, in which findings of Payara plan review will be made public, according to Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat. If we recall, sometimes in the past, when the contracts were being signed, they were keeping it secret, and we were not supposed to see because there was some directive from the oil company, it will appear. And Mr. Trotman, representing the coalition at that time, had he agreed, he accepted that he did sign without reading, which is a very sad and a very painful thing for our country and one of shame, and make us look bad, and especially when we will look a little bit today on the same program. Uganda delays production from 2006 oil find to 2022. From 2006, ladies and gentlemen, to 2022 until foolproof system is in place. Our people were in a hurry because they were told, Trotman was told, you need to sign quickly because the weather will be bad, as if we are getting winter. They tried that with Vice President Dr. Mara Jagdeo and the President Dr. Irfan Ali and Minister Bharat, who made it quite clear that we don't have winter. We don't have frozen oceans and rivers and so forth. So there's no problem for us. It's just a business experience, business magnate experience. I want to say again, I am not one who am against any investment. I'm not against Exxonmobil or Total, but I expect them to work with our country. I expect them to be respectful of our country. I expect them to work for our people and our future generations, so that when the oil is finished in about 20-25 years, Guyana will not be left in the dark, a desperate and a despotic and a hungry nation, as we have seen, in other countries of the world, which is called the Dutch disease or the oil curse. Friends and family, Minister Vikram Bharat, Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat has given all assurances that the Payara field development plan will be made public. He told this newspaper that a few technical issues are still being discussed between the Energy Department and Exxonmobil teams, while noting that the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission and the Environmental Protection Agency are also involved. The minister said too that the FDP is likely to be approved by month end. That's good news, not too far from now. During this participation in the Budget 2020 debates yesterday, the minister informed the members of Parliament that since the new administration has been in office, President Irfan Ali mandated that in the interest of transparency and accountability, the Payara developmental plans has to be reviewed through a technical assessment before granting the license. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Cabinet and Vice President of Guyana and Prime Minister Brigadier Mark Phillips. The review was initially conducted by ExxonMobil's client, Bayphase Oil and Gas Consultants, which is headquartered in the United Kingdom. Instead of retendering the job to review the Payara FDP, the government chose instead to hire a team using a Canadian High Commission grant to review what was already done by Exxon's client. The team is being led by former Premier of Alberta, Canada, Alison Redford, an ex-politician who resigned in 2014. Bharat noted that the assessment of the works by Bayphase has been completed, which paved the way for a draft license. He disclosed that the technical and legal teams are currently engaged in the ongoing discussions on this license with the aim of finalizing the agreement. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, this lady, the former Premier of Alberta, Canada, Alison Redford, an ex-politician who resigned in 2014 for inappropriately spending Guyana's tax dollars. This gentleman is explaining that the previous coalition government did not pay serious attention because they were in a hurry, you know. And I can understand that they were in this hurry to try to bring money to spend on whatever they see fit, but also maybe to enrich our country. I'm not going to make any judgment there. So there is that. They're looking at this, and they're looking to finalize an agreement that will benefit our people. This is the way it should be. It should not be to benefit the foreign people alone. They must make money, and they must be happy, but so must we, friends and families. I think also they need to set a system in place whereby if Exxonmobil commit any acts of accident or destruction to the environment in the Caribbean or anywhere, they will be held responsible. We are not doing the job. And I also think Exxonmobil is a fair and a good and a great company of this great country that we all love. I mean, I have so much interest in the United States. My children are all citizens. My family are all citizens, except yours truly. Me, I'm not a citizen. It is a matter to me, but I'm a lover of the United States of America, friends and families. Now, I want to give you some quick parts. It's a long article from the Culture News, page 3 of September 16th. Uganda delays production from 2006 oil find to 2022 until foolproof systems is in place. And we could have done that. Postpone ours as well. We was living, we were eating. Protect our sugar, protect our rice, which were the main earners. Watch over bauxite production and ensure we get our fair cut or take it away and let us do the way we were doing before. Fine, like how we had the Green Construction Company of Canada and all of that to watch over our bauxite and manage it with us. Back to the down to the article. By Kemal King, our local writer, is giving us an idea as to what is going on here. It has been 14 years since Uganda first discovered commercially viable oil reserves, and it still hasn't started producing oil. This is 2020, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that. Since 2006, so until now, at 2020, they have not harvested their oil as yet. Why? Let's see. Why is this so? The country saw the need to ensure that all systems are in place before first oil. Uganda realized that if it rushed ahead with the production with a regulatory framework that left too much to be desired, the result would be significant value leakage for the millions of Ugandans to whom the resource belongs. So it placed a significant amount of effort into bridging gaps and ensuring that negotiations resulted in sound agreements between oil companies and the government. So I'll skip a little part here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go on. Pursuant to the objectives of the policy, the Ugandan Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development set out a strategy for its implementation in 2013. A new Petroleum Exploration Development and Production Act was enacted. We don't even have a proper one, ladies and gentlemen. We had a hush-hush, rush-through thing. By that time, the country started to receive applications from oil companies for production licenses for the more than 16 discoveries made at that time. In 2014, a Memorandum of Understanding on Commercialization was signed between the government and licensed oil companies, which underpin the principles governing crude export, refinery, and crude for power. Crude for power for your country has to be the least possible charge. Back to the article. In 2015, the country established a sovereign wealth fund called the Petroleum Investment Fund under the Bank of Uganda. The fund was established with advice from Norway. Are we taking advice from Norway? Our friend who has been giving us millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of US dollars to help our country? Have we asked them for some help? They're positive. Canada is also offering, ask them for some help. Back to the article. The fund was established with advice from Norway, which has been hailed internationally for the excellent stewardship of its own sovereign fund. Well, sovereign fund, ladies and gentlemen, and its own oil. So they make so much money. I think we have more oil than Norway now, according to what my memory is showing. The fund. Uganda's sovereign wealth fund has been hailed by several global groups interested in transparency and better management of natural resources. In 2016, Uganda appointed the board of directors for the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. It then had the first competitive licensing round for several oil blocks in the region in which the first commercial discovery was made. The Petroleum Regulatory Authority states that an executive director was appointed in 2016 and several production licenses were issued. In that year, several sets of upstream and mainstream regulations were issued as well. Earlier this year, the Parliament passed the local content legislation. And I will skip a piece there, ladies and gentlemen, and go on. Typically, this is what the gentleman said. Senior petroleum geologist, Petroleum Authority of Uganda, Felix Bob Usiti. I salute the man. More than I salute anyone, and I don't mean any insult, who signed the documents and the papers and who managed the oil before the 2020 elections, ladies and gentlemen. It's a painful thing for me as a commentator and as a Guyanese citizen. It's a painful thing. And strange enough, because of sometimes ethnicity and political priority, people will say I'm saying wrong or they are going to be biased. You have to speak the truth. This is what the gentleman said. Pay attention, please, government of Guyana. President Dr. Irfan Ali, I'm talking to you too, with our due respects. Vice President, Minister, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Minister Vikram Bharat, Prime Minister of Guyana, the Honorable Mark Phillips. Here's what the man said. The question as to whether the journey to commercial oil production in Guyana has been slow is one I will leave for all to judge. But from a technical point of view, there is no shortcut for a country whose agenda is sustainable exploitation of natural resources in order to create lasting value for society. Senior petroleum geologist, Petroleum Authority of Uganda, Felix Bob Ositi. So he goes on to say now, I'm jumping a few paragraphs, ladies and gentlemen. Typically, Ositi said, around the world, the period between when a commercial oil discovery is made and the start of production ranges from 5 to 15 years. For us, it was about 5 years. For sustainability, it is important for developing countries to address 4 key aspects prior to production. The man is teaching us. Let us listen. Same thing with Keith Rowley of Trinidad. Salute the gentleman. He also has been teaching us and offered us to listen to them and to their guidance. And he doesn't mean to take advantage of our country. I respect Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago. Around the world takes about 15 years for sustainability. It is important for developing countries to address the key aspects prior to production. Explore everything, study everything, run to Norway, run to Canada for some help. Back to the article. The first aspect is the sector's institutional framework. OCT said that this framework should clearly define the roles of the public players, government regulators, and private players. Whereas international oil companies are driven by desire to maximize profit, government is driven by the need for sustainable exploitation of natural resources, with the benefits lasting longer than the life of the resources. The benefit must last longer than the life of the resources, he said. I'm going to read that piece back. Whereas international oil companies are driven by desire to maximize profit, government is driven by the need for sustainable exploitation of natural resources, with the benefits lasting longer than the life of the resource. So if it's going to take 20 or 25 years, we must get 100 years of service and preparation for our future generation, friends and families. I salute this man. I like this man. In this regard, the scientist said that the framework would have to ensure the roles of public players, ensure checks and balances exist for the efficient management of the sector. So I'll quit and I'll go back to about the last three paragraphs, ladies and gentlemen. Ositi said that the legislation as the blueprint on which the sector is governed should promote good governance and ensure activities that are well regulated. As for the fourth aspect, Ositi said that Uganda's physical infrastructure needed to be prepared for the sector, and that meant investments needed to be made into the country's roads, ports, etc. Same here. In Uganda's case, it needed to come to agreements for the export of the onshore oil via pipeline. Ositi did not worry himself with criticism that the country was inching too slowly towards first oil. This is a man of class and patience. The greatest warriors in the world are those who don't just wildly attack, but tactfully wait for the right moment. The question as to whether the journey to commercial oil production in Uganda has been slow is one I will leave for all to judge. But from a technical point of view, there is no shortcut for a country whose agenda is sustainable exploitation, the environment. They're burning up, ladies and gentlemen. And we are not taking the action we should because we're desperate for money. And I'm disappointed a bit with this new government. They need to put things in place. Stop the production if necessary. The flaring must stop. It's destroying Guyana. It's giving us too much heat. And it will cause us to lose the earnings from Norway. So end the flaring and end the dumping of poisonous waters into the oceans that will destroy our algae and therefore destroy all of life in the ocean. Back to the article. Uganda is yet another lesson for Guyana, which rushed to produce oil a mere 5 years after the first discovery. Too hurry, too hungry for money. The government of Guyana is doing the right thing, but they need to put some place. They're taking action on Payara. That is good, but we need to put things in place. Guyana did not upgrade a single piece of legislation to date, you know. So the government have had problems. They just got in. They are now trying to fix the budget, and then they will try to fix all of this, I'm pretty sure. They don't upgrade a single piece of legislation except for the introduction of Natural Resource Fund Act to collect the crumbs Guyana would receive due to a lopsided Stabroek Block agreement and weak regulation. For Guyana, there is much more to build and learn. I agree with that, but at the same time, we can't really blame this government that is now trying to pass the budget and trying to put things in place. It's too much. Mr. Glenn Lal and Kemal King, this government could not only do so much. And to my opinion, this government has done tremendous to bring relief, love and joy to the country Guyana. Friends and family, your friend, your brother, me, Haji Roshan Khan, thanking the government of Guyana through Vikram for saying the findings of Payara plan review will be made public. And we want all the others made public. They were forced. Let us take care of our country. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, to sanitize. Remember to wear your face masks. Friends and families, remember that we are one family under God. The Indo-Guyanese, the Afro-Guyanese, we all must protect each other and watch out for each other. The minorities, the indigenous, we are all one human family under God. This is our country, bequeathed and gifted by God to us. Let us make it work. Let us show joy. Let us show love. Let us show peace. And let us show cohesion and national goodwill for all of our peoples. And care of our country. And ask the politicians, especially those who are bent to destroy the government as power as they took an oath, to behave yourself and try to win respect so the government in power can feel comfortable for constitutional change and to probably even include you as part of power sharing. I believe in power sharing. I believe in cohesion. I believe in love and joy. Strangely enough, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, even though I'm saying all these things, some people are looking for some little something they can create trouble with and said I said this and said that, even though I'm saying so many beautiful things about our country and our people. This man here, this speaker, doesn't have a penchant for racism. or discrimination. Because I have loved and grown with all peoples, especially the Afro-Guyanese who have cared and taken care of us, and I care and take care of them also, but I stand for what is right. Friends and families, love one, love all, care one, care all. This Guyana is our country, bequeathed by God for our greatness. Your friend, your brother, me, Haji, Dr. Roshan Khan, saying thank you and farewell.